greetings from Vancouver Island. I'm in Nanoose Bay. It's Tanja, Adventures for Connection. We're grateful you're here. We have some great topics for today. And yeah, I'm in some native traditional lands, which most of Canada really is, if we want to get legit about it, so to speak, or honest about it. But there's this one little place with a notch on it, and I know it's a ceremonial place. And so I feel quite blessed to be here every day and to be able to get out there and hike and sit in that space. And yeah, very excited. So Norma, how you doing in North Vancouver?
I've been surprised. It's been like some really nice weather the last couple of days, and I was surprised at how warm it got yesterday, and it's pretty warm today. So I'm happy about that. Given it's just been a little crazy, the last week with the weather and everything, and me always plugging in and creating and getting things done that needs to be worked on or improved upon. And of course, in the evenings, I'm doing what I need to do to keep up with doing what it is that keeps me going and understanding who I am in all this, and expanding upon every bit of what that may be and what that may hold for myself. So that definitely gives me a chance and opportunity to experience this world in a totally different manner than I would have ever been able to imagine to.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm being guided to start with, it is an inside job. And we'll roll it right back to our eclipse there in April. And we were talking about this with John as well. And how that was a pretty big influx of energy. But one of the reasons why is because it caught so many people's intention around it. So there was a little bit of polarization around it, but many people went out to watch because it was such a rare opportunity. So any nefariousness aside, no, major energies coming through, and we're literally being upgraded from the inside out. And as my daughter says, I said, "How you feeling today?" Discombobulated. I'm like, yeah, that about sums it up. And so, yeah, I just remind everyone, go easy on yourself. There's many that are frustrated with how they're feeling, but what you resist persists. So make sure that, turn your attention to something of joy, something you can focus on, even if it's just a silly, my go-to is cat videos, funny dog video, funny animal videos, because there's nothing like a good laugh, right? Norma Jean makes everything a cartoon. But I really feel that's where a lot of this like ramping and speeding up of time at the same time, as we like to say, frequency lines, also known as timelines, many of you've been collapsing them. You've been having weird dreams. There's a reason why. I had another one last night. I don't remember what it was about, but I'm like, what's the work shit coming into my dream? And I'm like, oh, I know why. Yeah. Have you been remembering your travels, Norma?
I know when I'm there. It's one of those, because I've got so much going on, and it's one of those that if it's one of those moments that I'm sitting and I've got something going on, whether it's I'm in creative or I'm reading or whatever it may be. Like today, I was reading, of course, in my book, and it was expressing that our dreams are reflective of the things of who we are. And that those reflections, especially if it's someone that's in your dream that's of the same sex that shows up in your dream, they're playing the opposing part of who you are. They're bringing forth the chance and opportunity for you to look at that and understand that no matter where you go, there you are. Whether it's in travels, in dreams, in this this experience of the tangible. No matter where we go, there we are, because it's like. And one thing that I come to understand, especially for myself, is that I'm not separate from anyone else, because they're here doing the exact same thing I am. I just wear a different face.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's, as far as where dreams are concerned, it was going in depth into dreams. And of course, because I've read more since then, it'll definitely be something I'll be covering, in time. So,
yeah, there's a lot to cover. Do share, Andrea. Absolutely. Yeah, so many are having dreams, yes, strange. Yeah, absolutely, says CM Campbell over on Rumble. So, the beautiful thing is, just don't attach to anything. Just be that observer that you are. Observe how you're feeling. Like I've been putting a little extra attention, intention into making sure I move my body. Drink more water before even coffee actually has been one of the guidance, like extra water, like 2 full glasses of water before a coffee. Oh, that's interesting. And then I don't need as much a little later. So, just do what
Sure.
you're able to do. I was picking lavender today. I'm outside. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. This is good. And I made little lavender satchels and we'll bring some home. Yeah, and making plum cake and there's a deer that was just outside the window, like total island life. So and it's quiet here. So I'm spending quite a bit of time. There's a new song coming out, mantra, whatever it becomes to be, that is being birthed, so to speak. So do something creative, do something that brings you joy, do something that moves your body. Yeah. And Caroline says I'm moving my body too much. It's because you're painting your house, girl. We know what you're doing. And that is labor intensive. Yeah. So, but those napidations are like gold right now. Absolute gold. Because it's a little time to just like go into that zone that within you, the void, which it kind of feels like we're in a collective void right now. Would you agree? Feels like we're in a collective void.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I mean, maybe you go to sleep, as you're having your napidations. Me, I stay in the alpha state, just like I took a nap before we come on here, and it was quite fascinating and amazing because I'm getting so much more attuned to the alpha state whenever I'm just laying here and I just
Yeah.
have some music going, and it's one of those that when you're there, you go wherever it is your mind is taking you. And it was there was times I was coming back and I'm like, okay, where am I? Because it's that powerful for me,
Yeah.
becoming that powerful for me. The alpha state is a wonderful state because there was one time, because I may not be able to tell you what my travels were last night, but I can tell you what happened and took place before we come in here. And one of those was where I was standing in front of what looked like a white wall. And there was this psychedelic kind of kaleidoscope image in front of me. And it was at the bottom of this white wall. And then all of a sudden, here comes like probably, the octagon that was coming down. And it was like just multiple, just coming down simultaneously on top of one another. I was like,
Mm.
oh, where am I? And about time, but what's difficult sometimes is when this avatar becomes aware of that, it brings me back because it's not there. And it has that ability to know exactly where it's at. And when the mind takes it somewheres, it's one of those that because I'm still becoming to be acclimated with what I'm capable of doing in my alpha state, my body still has not regulated to that yet. So it brings me back. And I come to, and I'm, it's one of those that's like, okay, my awareness is I'm still here. So that's my experience whenever I take a napadation. I literally am napadating.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was down before and I definitely wasn't sleep. I haven't been sleeping lately. It's even in the car on the ferry. They're like, you gotta get out of the car. He's got a little sign. He's going around on the ferry. You gotta get out of the car. So I didn't have to say it and knock on the window. And I just was laughing at him because I'm like, I really like your sign. That's awesome. Good idea. And so I went upstairs and literally did a couple laps on the outside deck and then came back down to the car, put the seat all the way back and was just lying there. And I wasn't sleeping. I was just in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful state. Yeah, it was quite profound. And that when you guys, when you do that and you get comfortable, set a timer for a minute, set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Eventually you won't need a timer because you'll come in and you'll drop in and you'll just go, oh yeah, this feels so good. This is, because nothing matters. You're just in this like love bubble. And so then you start to crave it. This is what happens. And then you know you need it when you start to feel a little heightened or discombobulated. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I just need a little me time. Jade knows it. It's like, no, mom first. And so you just take that time and it really, really does help. So, what do you guys do? I know some like active meditation. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's dance. Maybe it's a hike. Maybe it's sitting by a river. Waterfalls are amazing. Let us know what you do. And yes, Shay's right. Yes, Shay is also known as Earth Biscuit on Telegram for anybody that's on our Telegram group and has been seeing Earth Biscuit. This is Shay, who's very tapped into the other side. And do remember, please, to give it a thumbs up, like, share it out if our videos resonate with you. And ask your questions. We're happy to answer them before we drop into some of the other energy stuff. So I'm doing this slow build in from April, and it's been speeding up ever since April. Who else feels like, wasn't April just like a month ago? But April, we're quite a ways further along, and time's so irrelevant anyway at the end of the day. But things are speeding up and clicking faster. Sometimes hours go by and it's like, wasn't that just 15 minutes? What just happened? And so we're really curious how you guys are feeling about that. Absolutely. And then we can talk about the other energies, the photon belt, whether or not the earth, whatever shape the earth may be. I do know there is a toroidal field around it. And that's what is most important to me, is the energy movement going on. That earth is now very active, rebirthing, so to speak. She's having a rebirth. We're having a rebirth from the inside out. Nobody really knows it yet, but this is what's happening. You're being activated. Your DNA is being activated. Remember, water is crystalline. So not only are you water, you are energy, like flashing like this to look like you're solid. We just can't see it with these eyes. Yeah, there's so much to share around this. And then we can talk about the moon, and there's so many stories going around about the moon and how is the moon real? Is the moon fake? How does it make you feel? All I can say is that I know when it's a full moon. I can feel it. So if I can feel it, whether or not the moon we see up in the sky is real is irrelevant, because energy, look, we're all sitting on devices here connecting on this show. You can't see how it's connected, but you trust it is because you can see us, you can hear us. It's very similar with the real energy of the moon. Not affected by time and space. And Norma can share more on this.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have y'all. This is how I get to space and place to ask myself these very vitally important questions. Number one, am I real? Yep. So here's how I perceive when somebody's telling me something that I want to question. It's not because I'm not believing what their experience is. It's like, is this something that is affecting me in my perspective, in what I feel is real? And then coming, across and understanding that for every bit of information I've taken in, and I've gained a lot of information over a lot of years, there was never once in history that I've read a time where at any point was it ever deemed that the moon wasn't real. However, when we come to understand that, if I want to understand, okay, what is real? What's reality? I can only speak to what's in my immediate environment. So if there's anything that I can depend on when it comes to things of such a nature of, people bringing forth information as such as the moon's not real, is the one thing I can give the moon is every day that I've been here, it's been here. It's consistent. And that's where, we begin to understand it's in energy. And in history, the moon has always been spoken to and spoken about as a energy that is an ebb and flow. Okay, because it has that effect on Earth. So when I look at things, real or not, if it's something I can't touch, real or not, and one thing I can give the moon, the sun, and the stars is they show up every day that I do. So I'm grateful for them, for they've been here to give me the light. They've been here to help me understand my emotions and what they stand for and how my feelings guide me and lead me to understanding more about myself, where the stars have that glistening, knowing that I am myself a glistening star. So when it comes to things like this is where that masculine and feminine come into the role play, or in their role of helping me understand who I am in all this, where the masculine comes in with the logic and the reason of the information I've taken in, yet the feminine comes in and reminds me what's been consistent in my life since I've arrived here and been having this experience.
Absolutely. And that's well put. So it reminds you again, there's so much information to consume out there that I know you're all really good about using your discernment now, but we want you to take it a step further if you can. At least think about it. What if we're all souls having a human experience, and that no matter what's going on externally, it's more important that this upgrade that's happening on the inside is actually the real awakening, and that whatever falls out over there in the political game, in the government game, which is political anyway, in the medical system, in the school system, knowing that when each of us actually activates this within, we're activating and helping everyone around us immensely more. We're talking you can affect 1,000,000 people when you hit certain vibrations. And as you walk around, your purpose is to spread love and kindness and have compassion. Yeah. And ooh, CM Campbell has a good comment about the moon, but we'll get back to that. But I believe that everything is speeding up for a reason, that we're constantly being activated in different ways, that it can feel discombobulating. Thanks, Jade, for that word. If you're listening, she said she might go listen. This is her first time listening in. That discombobulation makes sense. I feel out of sorts. Something doesn't feel right. That's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's better than, it's better than many things in life. Discombobulate is just not so bad. So those salt baths, right? It's like, and then go find somebody that's got it worse off. I just have to see one little comment about something and I'm like, oh, my heart goes out to them. Yeah, my life is great. Gratitude will go a long way. So instead of focusing on what you don't like in your life or you don't like in your environment, focus on what you're grateful for that will immediately shift your energy. And we'll be chatting more about this as it comes through, because I'm constantly getting messages right now, especially here. So it's very nice and quiet here. And we got a couple comments. So I just want to step back for 1 second and make sure that we don't lose comments. For Shay. I never went to bed last night. I kept floating in that state, sitting in my chair. But you feel rested, right, Shay? I'm assuming you feel rested. You will, because your whole body, you're not the one speaking, you're not the one thinking, you're the one observing that. And so when you go back to your source, then you're definitely the avatar is resting. Yeah.
It's actually a natural state.
Right? Exactly. I feel like my insides are dancing while I'm trying to remain in a calm, peaceful manner. I'm smiling a lot too. High energy. Fantastic. Absolutely. There's no right or wrong way to be right now. Yeah. My head and chest have been buzzing all day, but notice it's not uncomfortable. Being body aware. Awesome. To even like connect with your body, guys, to have this awareness, which is great. And then this question. Can either of you explain what the experience of seeing colors if you place your hands over your eyes and gently put pressure on them?
Well, when you apply pressure to something that has light in it, it distorts it. It When you
Mm,
apply pressure where there's light, the light gets dispersed because of how we, this kind of is going across the understanding of quantum and understanding the color rays of the light spectrum, and understanding how atoms is what color reflects off of. So when you apply something, then what happens is the atoms, which is in the eye or anything that you can apply pressure that disperses the atoms in a different way, creates what would be deemed as sparks, so to
yeah.
speak. So with the iris, there's so much that can be seen and experienced, because these are our projectors. You remember those plasma screens, how easy it was to how they would go out so easily and things like that, because it was because the pixels. It was the same thing with our eyes. Any and everything that's ever been created upon this earth is because of this form, and someone
Yeah.
understanding how this form works. Everything. So when we understand pixels, that's what our eyes are doing. It's pixelating what we are experiencing. So in that pixelation, if you press on your eye, then it distorts what's before you, and it projects it back within you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's, I think, one of the more challenging things is to realize that we are projectors. The setup, the information comes in and projects out in front of us. This is gonna come in stronger and stronger and stronger as we go. Yeah, stronger as we go. So
That's
don't be surprised
yeah.
if you're seeing things out of the corner of your eyes, or if you've got your eyes closed, but yet a lot of light comes in. Like or you start having visions, right? I spend a lot of time looking at my own eye with my eyes closed. That's like the first thing that shows up. It's like, what? I'm watching myself? I guess so.
You kind of are. I mean,
Right?
because I know what to talk to. I've closed my eyes, and it's like either that, or if somebody is within my peripheral, and if I close my eyes, I can see their light body walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's super cool. Um, let's tap a little more into that, because I want to talk a little bit about Sasquatch before we go back over to the moon.
Okay.
Norma can see Sasquatches, you guys.
Well, they show
Yeah,
themselves to me, so
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and she was somewhere in North Vancouver and a portal was offset, and she went with someone else who shall not be named at this time, but may choose to comment if she wants to. Um, and yeah, as soon as the portal was corrected, the Sasquatch popped back through. Did it wave and say thank you?
No, it wasted no time whatsoever.
Right?
It had been here for a while. It was ready to go back where it came from.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just
I
a portal
can,
that needed to be corrected, because it had
right?
been shifted.
Yeah. And so that brings me to this one. Dun, dun, dun. The moon is just in different places in the sky than I remember as a kid, especially midday straight above my head. Yeah, we're perceiving things differently. Also, I think this might have a little bit to do with the pole shift. Your thoughts, Norma? Yeah.
It
Okay.
does. It does,
Yeah.
because you got to understand, uh, what is it called? Uh, the equinoxes.
Yes.
Okay, so this has to do with the equinoxes, and it also has to do with, because of the yugas. It has to do with the yugas, and understanding that the pole shifts over a certain period in time, because that's how Earth travels through time. So if you're seeing the moon in different, believe me, it's hard for me to keep up with the moon because it's moving so quickly these days for me. Unless it's fixing to be a new moon or a full moon, it moves very quick. Because here, being in Vancouver, it moves differently than it did in Georgia for me. So here in Vancouver, it can show up over here to my right, but within a few days, it's made a good amount of movement over to the left, because here the moon is going right to left, where the sun is going left to right. So, and that's how it's meant to go. And so it's like when I watch the moon, I do the best I can to keep up with it. And there are times I can see it during the day, and there's something, well, it depends on when I get outside. And there are times that I don't. So a lot of it's because I'm not keeping up with the moon cycles probably in the way that I should, but that will soon come. But yeah, it's quite fascinating because, but there's times that I have moments where, when you talk about your childhood, there are times I've even expressed to T. I have those feelings I had whenever I was a child, of the times then of things not being, so I guess you would say, discombobulated. So there are certain things that are showing up, energies that are showing up that are reminding me of my childhood, that lets me know, I guess in certain level or way, that things are beginning to correct and become more of a natural state and fluidness as to when it was when I was a kid.
Yes, absolutely. And then over on Rumble, Cross is saying, again, it's good to observe these things, but how does it making you feel inside when it's going on? And really paying attention to the new moon and the full moons, because those are the two that seem to affect the most. And full moons, like, lots of people are a little bit strange on full moons, let's be honest, and they don't have any idea what's going on energetically. So, and then the two moons, if there's two moons being seen, I don't know, guys. I haven't seen it for myself. So I look at these and I'm like, damn, CGI and Photoshop sure are good these days. So until you can see it, perceive it, project it with these eyes, every area, every continent, every country has its own possible local moon and sun. We just don't know. We think we're all seeing the same one, but how do we know for fact? We just don't. And after being in Greece and seeing how and starting to understand these portals, I'm like, well, it would make sense if we're going through a portal that we get onto this ferry boat. It's like a portal. We go to a new island, we go into its dome, and it's got its own, right? Its own setup and its own net around it. And oh my gosh, the book I'm reading about nets and the energy around the human it's good. It's got some good stuff in it. You're gonna like it. At least for me, because it's Egypt based. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my jam. Yeah. And so I had Jade doing one of the mantras yesterday. So again, think about it this way. If you had the capacity to build your own life and create anything you wanted around it, you have that capacity. But do you have the faith, the belief to step into it fully? Hey, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So let's just be honest. But I do believe that to be true. My whole core says yes. Interesting. Once had a dream driving along a house, three big plants, everything stopped. Everyone looked confused. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. This is so wonderful. I mean, in what I get from that is, it's like those planets are something that represents you, something within your vessel. It represents something about your vessel, and the ones that were confused are the cells, so to speak. And that's how I perceive that. That's what I was shown whenever he was reading that. It was like, that's so
right.
Cool.
Everybody, you're getting these extra gifts right now. You're being activated right now. And so, all of a sudden, oh, this is the best life ever because we're going to have this expansion beyond anything we could even imagine. We can't even imagine how incredible it can be. We can't even imagine yet. So dream big. Go ahead.
Did you happen to see Cindy's question up there
Yeah, I
about
was
Sasquatch?
gonna pull that back up
Oh,
after we got off the moon.
oh, okay. You know, that's a good question, Cindy, because I mean, as much as I've come to, um, oh, her name left my head. The one in Georgia. She's a Sasquatch.
Andrea?
No.
Uh,
I
yeah,
can't think of her
keep
name.
going, she'll drop
Yeah.
in. Cryptid
Um,
huntress.
Cryptid huntress. Yes. So, given all the information that I had gotten from her and understanding the stories and the things that I've done research on as far as where Sasquatch is concerned, you got to understand we are a species that's evolving, and in that evolving DNA, our DNA is being mixed with so many things, including Sasquatch. I mean, when you come and you talk about, over time, there were always the stories about the domes and stuff. We would be kind of ignorant not to think that something like that does not exist because there's always something going on. And so, as far as where, the Anunnaki is concerned, from what I've read in the information I have taken in as information, is that our DNA has been utilized in so many ways. And this is watching like Billy Carson with his forbidden knowledge, because he talks about a lot of the Anunnaki and the times of Egypt and things like that, and how our DNA has been utilized on so many different ways, and how we've evolved due to the DNA being brought in from other beings and planets and things like that. So it just all depends on the information and what resonates with you, and where you put your belief, depending on how or what DNA is triggered within you as a memory.
Yeah. You're remembering. We've all done this before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super beautiful to be able to, and it's the most incredible creation, in my opinion. Not only this natural AI realm, but we all want to complain about AI, but in a way, we are a version of AI, advanced intelligence, right? We are.
Yeah. And all artificial is just the opposing,
Right.
that contrast. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
We have the chance and opportunity to choose which we choose on, what we put our attention at, what our will is willingness towards.
Yeah. And so this taking health back under control, because this body can heal itself of anything,
Mm-hmm.
if you can believe it, if you can have the faith, if you can put in the clearing of what needs to be cleared out because you've got it energetically trapped. But yeah, and nobody's going to be left behind. So this is the first time within the avatar that we've attempted, because it's not the first attempt, not the second attempt. There's been many attempts to actually expand and move into different dimensions, which is states of consciousness. All right. So we're not all going to disappear onto some new planet. We need the 3-dimensional to be able to use the 5 senses. That's what it's all about. But then to be able to travel the other dimensions. So we're not stopping at 5D. You can keep going. The idea is to get to the 12 dimensions and be able to travel through. That is the Christ consciousness. That is the you can't even say end goal. That is one of the goals because then once you hit that, it's like next. Because it's a never ending glorious game. So then there's no rush.
No.
We're not racing for anything. Quit saying I'm sick of this and I'm waiting for this and start working on yourself.
Be engaged.
Yeah, or you'll become enraged. Who said that? Remember
Me.
Gene? I know.
Well, it just made sense,
Right?
because, for so long, it was like I said, the foundation I had was shit. So I ended
Right?
up doing what I needed to form my own. But I would not be who I am, and I would not have the understanding that I have if I'd not had the experience that I had up to this point. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so
Right?
profoundly grateful for those experiences, because doing and reading and just taking in information just to understand more about, just what I'm here experiencing, was to understand that, well, shit, no wonder I was always pissed off. I wasn't as engaged in my life as I should have been because I was too busy being distracted by what I thought was life.
Right?
However, understanding that even in that, I still had to come to the, by getting engaged, then I begin to understand, oh, now I understand why I was so distracted. It's because I was leaving so much of myself behind because I was denying it or judging it or defining it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. What you resist persists. And when you judge something else or you're shaming someone else, because we're all connected, remember, only a tiny part of your soul, like 3 strands. And I'm just studying something else that was resonating around sharing multiple souls within avatars, right? Yeah. And so I need to wrap my head around it a bit more to convey it properly, but that doesn't surprise me at all. We know things about walk-ins. I don't know if you've ever heard about walk-ins. So when
I
one
got
soul
walk-ins
checks
years
out,
ago.
it's like, I ain't fucking going back in that body. No way in hell you're making me go back to that planet. And somebody else is like, I'll go.
I can't fix the damn thing. You do it.
That's the thing I see in my head is like, I ain't going back. What did you want to
Yeah.
add to that, Norma?
Oh, I read about walk-ins back in 2009, 2010 for the first time. And it was
Yeah.
quite unique because it's like, that's the amazing thing about all this to me is like, okay, I was taking in all this information and it just wasn't clicking. Why did it not click at that time? Why is it so much of that information makes so much sense to me now in this here, now, time, space? And is it because of this huge shift that took place because of 2020 and what shifted within the collective to release that energy, or to allow that energy that has been here to come through to help us shift? But a lot of it is, like I said, everything that's happening is happening through me. Everything. So it's like, I have been creating my life this whole time. I have been being a part of it. I've just not been in the level of awareness of my engagement in it.
Right.
And how in my engagement in that awareness, because I'm becoming more and more aware of self, I'm getting better at the navigation of it.
Exactly. The more you practice something, the better you get at it. So take one subject, take one action, and explore and see. And because of my trip to Egypt, oh, this is so exciting. We're going to Egypt with the Shala in the spring. Very excited about that. Egypt and Greece. And so so my brain's back on Egypt, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're going. And I've known for quite some time, because I was super activated when I went, that I have much to share about Egypt still. I have much to have activated within me around that. And so I am sticking to some specific topics that are really focused on that. And some of that's definitely around Isis. So she's
Yeah, I'm waiting
definitely
for those energies to start showing back up.
right. And they will.
Oh, I know they will. They're still there. They're just a little dormant. That's all, because it's just been so, the way it has been. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see what comes through.
Yeah. And with Ashala as well, because yeah, another beautiful soul sister who um came to the debt like a couple times, and the three of us are just like zing. So we really want to wrap this around a bit of a goddess awakening. So yeah, being able to work energetically. So do stay tuned. We're very excited about that. And we kind of wanted to do a combination, and we're very conscientious about pricing. So that's my job. Last time we did things like private in the pyramid and private at the Sphinx. And it's like I already know how to get in and pretty much get everything we want to do there done without having to pay for the privates. Cause yeah, it wasn't until after we'd done it and I went, you want how much more money? So they're very sneaky there that way. So yeah, absolutely. And everyone will be activated because Egypt can be so dense and activating, freeing, purging all at the same time. But and then you go to Greece and you're just like, ah.
This is my place. I'm just
Right?
saying.
Especially yeah, so we're just in discussion around that. Now we did a bit of a boat tour, so we'll see what transpires cost-wise, because I'm looking at that and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not cost." So we might be able to rent a boat for a day and do something like that, but we'll figure out something so that it is most economical, because to me, it's more important to have everyone come and have this experience and have this expansion. Yeah, that would be my joy for that anyways. Back to what have we got? We got a new moon tomorrow. And I don't want to attach too much to, oh, this is what's going to happen to you. Oh, these energies. You have every opportunity and every moment of every second of every single day to connect with whatever you want to connect with. So whether that's a manifestation point or that's a release point, you get to choose. You can make a whole menu. Oh, Midnight Gospel.
Don't get me
If you
started on
haven't
that.
seen Midnight Gospel on Netflix, you may want to. Midnight Gospel. It gives a really good overview of what's going on in this and how the soul comes into each planet and how he chooses the planets. Episode 3 of is quite enlightening, we'll say. Yeah, I even had my brother watch it. Yeah, absolutely. So super beautiful. Um, let's and we also have a little bit of a list to wrap up. So tomorrow's the new moon, and new moon just means let go. Let go of anything. And you can do this every day I do this, or every week I do this. Clear out what doesn't need to be within. And sometimes it's clearing out, like I went and cleaned the car here the other day. Damn, there's a lot of dust in that car from the debt, like deep dust. So I'm like, I think it's time to bring in a pro who's got like just run it into the shop and spend a few $100 and just let him go at it hard, because we won't be.
Yay. Because I can't get to it.
Nobody will. No, I can't even get to it. I don't have the equipment. I tried. Anyways, sidebar, jump. But purging and cleaning. And then once you cleared some stuff out, you have room for a little more space. And then you get to choose, what do you do with that space? So I would say that would be my intention for you. And anyone in North Vancouver area, we are doing a sound bath on the 4th. So I'm at that at Kalena in North Vancouver. So if you're interested in coming, hit me up with a message and I'll get you in. As well, this month, it's depending on the calendar, it is Sept, which is another 8. Like it just can go on and on with could be this, could be that. So just go by how you feel and what you're looking forward to. I do often feel that September is that slowing down after summer. And I had a slow summer for all aspects considered. Yes, we're going back to center. So center would be middle of winter. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Ready
no,
for
no.
that transition.
Yeah. But that makes sense to me now that you do this in front of me, and you can use the 8 to move traffic. You can use the 8 to, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you think about it, winter, when there is no light, when it's the least amount of light, is that opportunity to really go inward. And so if we're traveling on an infinity loop and we go out and around and we come back to center, right? So it would take, well, I don't even want to put a time frame on it because it depends on how you look at it. But your center is you. It's finding you. It's getting rid of everything that's not you and finding the real you, the light being you, that vibrational you. Yeah. And I just can't say how grateful I am. Like, even on the days that I, might struggle a little bit, I got tools in my toolbox to correct that shit. It's right. Go ahead, Norma Jean.
It was an analogy that I utilized the other day.
Okay.
And we're talking about, okay, you're the center. The masculine and feminine is that infinity.
Yes.
They're the ones meeting you in the center. So you want to know how you're out of balance or out of center? Imagine yourself being a piece of clothes within a wash machine that gets thrown to one side and you get slammed against one side. You know how the wash machine gets, is you start hearing the slamming and the banging because it's off center. That's when you know it's like when you're having those rough days, look at things that way. Have the capacity to step back and be like, man, this is one hell of a ride, but at least I know what's going on. So somewhere along the line, I just got to figure out, is the masculine that's throwing me off, or is it the feminine? So this is how I approach things with that humor, to get you out of that. Yeah.
You have to. Yeah. Yeah. And if no tools are working for however I'm feeling, rest and reset. That's just my final, right? Oh, well,
final countdown.
Right? You missed 4:44, but you'll live.
That's okay. I didn't even know we've been in this for almost 50 minutes. It doesn't feel that long.
No, it feels like 5 minutes. See, this is what happens. Yeah. So, is the moon real? Does it matter? And here's the other thing we wholeheartedly believe, and it's starting to show up in some of them, people with really good cameras. What you believe to be a star is a ball of energy. And what does energy do? It sends out energy. It shifts energy. And so if all the planets are stars, and here's what I'm working on right now, Norma Jean has been working on it. I'm working on a song for it. I had to do that creative part. And I am not a songwriter, let's just say, but these things start dropping in and I'm like, all right, I'll write it down. When the egg and sperm goes into the egg, there's a flash of light. Dun dun dun. In enters the soul. Or at least a part of the soul, right? We know that. Just a part of the soul. And so then the cells are all the same cells. And they all start dividing. And at some point, the cells suddenly know, oh, we need to make this organ now. There's no blueprint except it's being directed by the energies, and we believe the planets, and each planet, we go through those planets energetically to create each organ within the body. And your heart is the first organ. Your heart is your connection to energy. It is your connection to home. It is your connection to love. Yeah. Add to that, Norma?
Oh, the collaborators. You gotta love it. Especially when you come to understand. I was even thinking about that today, and I just hadn't had a chance to talk to you about it. Is that, I'm sitting and I understand what I understand about genealogy. Of course, that comes with, the Enneagram, numerology, and planets, the archetypes.
Yes.
And it's like, it's amazing that just the things that just go through my head. It's just so much fun sometimes. Anyways, so what's amazing about it is that with ennealogy, it's a destiny number in the spiritual number. But when I expanded upon the understanding of this, especially since you brought into account that about the concept or the day of conception And then we
Yes.
have the 9 months of gestation, which that's where the collaboration between the planets and the energies and the elements take place. Okay, so in that collaboration, that's where we are, as we're formulating this vessel. That's where we are understanding that once we come here, we're going to forget because of the assistance of the collaboration. So, because destiny is the personality and the character that you are here in this experience, where the spiritual is more of like what would be more deemed of, this is your cosmic, this is the cosmic way of understanding your purpose here in this life, because it's the cosmos, the planets and the energies and stuff which are here that helped formulate the form in which you are traversing this experience in.
Hmm.
And the ones that you, like me being born in Aries, and then whatever the planet was on in my natal chart is the characteristics and the personalities I would come in with, and that would be more of that, a part of what I would utilize in this experience. So when I look at that, it's like profound to me, because we know every one of the energies because they work within us, because they helped us to collaborate in the forming of this vessel. It's not that we do not lack understanding every bit of those energies, even though they've been defined. Because you got Scorpios that's defined, Leos that are defined, but even in those energies, there's opposings. So this is that micro to the macro understanding of everything that is taking place for us to understand. It's first taking place within us, because that's where it began. So it's
Right.
like, I blow my
Ab-
mind every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why we keep pushing you for get to know you.
Mhm.
Unpack that which doesn't serve. You know, everyone over here has had autoimmune or has the autoimmune diseases, cancers, you know, and I just get to observe because you can't just spirit it away, Tanya. And that's a belief. Yeah. It's a beautiful opportunity right now to just get to know self. But there is an expansion conversation happening with another friend here over coffee when she started talking about her autoimmune and going to a naturopath. And then a conversation around it. Every morning I'm takes me so long to calm down because I can feel the energies in my body. I was like, mm-hmm. Yeah, trying to get your attention. So even
More and
those, yeah,
more.
even those that don't want are not having a choice at this point. Yeah.
Let's either be engaged and show up, or be, as much as I hate to say it, this is where you got to understand energies. It's either show up and be engaged because you're being given a chance and opportunity because the energies are showing you this, or still staying stuck in that inability to change
Mm,
because of those programs being so deep seated within us. That energy begins to force you to change.
yeah.
So that's where that saying came in: be engaged in your life or being raised by it.
Yeah. And
And
that's a
this is where
great
that comes.
analogy. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's because, people run around, and there's a lot of people right now. There's a lot of blame going on. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of judgment. I just don't even engage in it. It's like, no, I'm just going to be the observer. Because every time you engage, you're putting your intention towards something which you don't want. You really want to reserve your attention and intention for that which you desire. Even the words out of your mouth, every single one is so important. I'm up here
Especially
singing away in the woods. Go ahead.
It's also the eyes.
Yes.
What are you seeing? What are you witnessing? What's going on in your environment? Everything that's going on is for you. Because wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
So you've called that to you. You might not have been aware of it. You might not know why, but it's all for you. Because that's how energies work. They work for you, not against you. Every single time. When you come to really understand that, energies work for you. It's just how much focus and attention do you have with the awareness of what you're asking.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Cross is saying many are still in denial syndrome, sadly. That's okay. Just let them be.
There's got to be a balance.
Right?
We're
If
in a world of
everybody
opposition.
all of a sudden, all the energy went to, oh yeah, we're all doing this together like a school of fish,
The
it
world,
would never go off balance.
the world would start spinning. I'm telling you, there's that, and this just brings us back to the washing machine metaphor I just used. Boom, 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 because too many went on one side. There's got to be a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to leave you that with today. Balance is the word of the day. Oh, I know what we need to finish with. Dun, dun, dun. We started last week's show and we got to law number 10, and this will just take a couple minutes of the universal laws. Does everyone remember? I'm going to share the link so that you guys can go and look at the previous, because it's not a bad idea. And then we're just going to go through the last couple. Oops. Dun, dun, dun. Here it is on Rumble. And I'll have to put that link also into the chat on Rumble after this. Sorry, guys, I'm multitasking. Don't be a towel in my washer, Jay says. Absolutely. All right. And so there's the link there. And it's just an article in regards to these 12 universal laws and how to practice them. And I just thought it was a good little article despite all the ads. And so we wrapped up on number 9, which was law of relativity. The law suggests that we are inclined to compare things in our world, but in reality, everything is neutral. Relativism exists in all things, and in the end, meaning comes down to our perspective and perception. Applying this law can help us understand the tougher parts of our lives with greater compassion. For example, if we are feeling ungrateful for our living situation, it could be because we are comparing our arrangements with someone else. Instead, we're better off appreciating what we have without needing to compare to something else. There you go. That's number 9. Number 10, law of polarity. This law says that everything in life has an opposite, good and evil, love and fear, warmth and cold. The key is understanding that these are all two sides of the same coin. Kaiser works with this law through the mantra, all contrast brings more clarity. If you're facing a difficult situation like a breakup or a health challenge, for example, tune into what the opposite looks like, which can reveal a new perspective or lesson. Did you get that? The scales and polarity, right? If you don't like what's going on, again, focus on that which you desire. That is part of the law of polarity. Norma, do you have anything to add to that? I can't see you because I'm reading this.
No, that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what we've been speaking to pretty much this whole program.
Right.
Is understanding we are having an experience in what's considered a contrasting world, a dual world. We're having a dual world experience. So we would understand ourselves in what that is in a physical way. So you see that this is such a gift. It really ultimately is a gift. When we can get past where we're at to understand what polarity truly signifies, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful and very profound, synchronistic, yet most chaotic experience we will ever have.
Yes. And there's so much soul expansion that has while we go through these processes. It teaches us to have as many perspectives, I suppose, one day as source, but we'll never get that many because it's getting millions and millions and trillions and billions all at once. But we get to, this is part of that soul expansion, is to have all these perspectives, because you will start to realize you recognize specific things about certain perspectives, and you can bring those tools along to show others, to show up differently. You have so many opportunities. The law of rhythm is number 11. Cycles are a natural part of the universe. Physically, you can think about the seasons on Earth. In our own lives, we can remember that integration is just as important as growth. So if you're reading a book, I tend to read my books a bit slower because I need time to integrate as I go. And then I definitely write some notes. So for me, that's really important. And sometimes I don't want to read anything that's educational. I just want to read something fun, right? Just something that takes me on a story. And sometimes those stories have beautiful gifts in them too. We expect ourselves to be one way all the time, whether we're thinking about our health or even productivity, but this is not sustainable. Take note of your inner rhythms and try to work with them instead of fighting them. Feeling run down? Maybe it's better to give yourself some rest instead of powering through. Are we not just talking about that? You cannot be riding high all the time. What is the opposite? Law of polarity, law of rhythm. We need to have that balance going on. It's a dance. Law of gender. And lastly, the law of gender has to do with the masculine and feminine energy that exists in all things. Kaiser notes that much of our society has historically operated from a masculine hustle and do mentality, which doesn't allow much room for just be. Achieve your own balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies in order to live more authentically. The takeaway? There you have it. Now, you guys can all go ahead and read this for yourselves, but this information we've been taking in forever, and we just didn't even realize it, but it's part of our being now. It's just how we are. And for us, that's really important. Norma?
Oh, yeah. I was saying it from the beginning and continue to say it. It's all about the balance and the rhythm of that balance. All of it. Every single bit of it. Because you got to understand, a ball, when it's sitting still, isn't sitting still. Because just because you see a ball sitting in grass doesn't mean it's not moving. What's happening within? So you see, this is the reason why balance is so important, to understand totally significantly and as fully as you can about yourself. Who are you in all this? How engaged are you in what that means for you? Understanding what are the energies that do exist, because so many have become since the beginning of this beautiful journey. And finding the balance in that is understanding that you don't just find balance of self by understanding the soul that you are. You find the balance of what keeps the feminine in the balance. You find the balance that keeps the masculine in the balance. And when they're not in balance, recognizing what it has imbalanced them so that you may put them back in balance. Because you see, you're the common denominator of those.
Common denominator of everything in your life. Absolutely everything, whether you like it or not. You've definitely involved in creating it. So absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Our mission is to really empower you, help you to remember who you truly are. And quite often, the first part is that realization, and often some healing is required. And perspective. We've got several of our members in the chat here. Guys, how's membership going? You get this opportunity sometimes just with a couple people, because not everyone can make all the calls. and you get this real one-on-one chance and opportunity to connect and to deep dive a little bit more, to go through some healing. Yeah. And so we do as much as we can on these lives, and we appreciate you all here. So still ask your questions. But if you're something more you want to know or you're interested in the membership, it's extremely valuable. There's lots being given in that time frame, including um oh, uh-oh. All right. We need the names for the draw. We should be drawing somebody today.
I gave it to you.
I know you did. I think they're out in the car. I will post that in the comments afterwards. I want to make a really big hoo-ha about that. So we've got 8 or 9 names. If you sign up just for the email, you're gonna get entered into a draw for a session for a one-on-one with me. Yeah. And here's Shay commenting about the membership. It's awesome. It's working. Beautiful. And Andrea, membership is amazing. Yeah. So you get things like meditations that are custom and included. And so there's all kinds of guided stuff in there, some healing meditations. You get once a week free or once a week live, sorry, healing with me. And you get once a week live call with both Norma and I. So that's the bigger package. The smaller package is mostly on the healing focus. So if you come in that direction, you work and focus on the healing, you will find afterwards, okay, I'm ready to share more or get more out of this. And then we also have our Telegram group. And so the Telegram group is there for, you can see we're a safe community to talk about these things, but we really invite you to consider working on you and putting you first. When's the last time you put yourself first? Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Norma Jean?
Stay engaged. Be enraged.
Right? All right.
This is your life, y'all. Y'all came here to know what it is, what it feels like to live a life.
Yeah.
So stay engaged. Stay engaged in ways to understand who you are in all this, because you're here individuated. It does not
Yes.
mean you're separate from the one before you who's here
No.
doing the exact same thing. They're just not where you are in themselves in that wheel to take on that responsibility, to be prepared to take on the fullness of the responsibility of the choices that we've made up to this point. Because even I've moved beyond shadow work, because I don't even look at it as shadow work so much anymore. I look at it as I'm going back and retrieving the parts of myself I denied because I didn't know any different. I didn't know not to do that to myself. I didn't know not to reject that part of that energy that was me, that was there to show me something about myself, you see. So
Yeah.
get to know you. For me, it's where's Norma? Is Norma showing up for Norma today? Because if Norma's showing up for Norma, Norma's going to be able to show up for another, because Norma knows how to do it for herself first. And
Absolutely.
don't become that imbalanced washing machine.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah. We have a horse that needs some extra love, so everyone send some love. Cafe 25 on Rumble. Absolutely. Yeah, he's not well. Yeah, sending him so much love. There's so many people, so many animals, so many with these increased energies that are not adapting and they're not meant to. And so it's with love and compassion that we send all animals love and all humans love at this time as they choose to transition now, later, whenever. It's with so much love and gratitude because every single one of us here at this time is making a difference. Remember that. And we love you. Yeah. Back on Wednesday. We'll see you guys then. We got some special news coming up too. We got some extra guests. Stay tuned.